What is good, everyone? Welcome to a brand new episode of Indie Movement here on eCAV Radio. So we have an amazing show for you here today on this fine Monday morning. My special guest on the show today is local folk musician Nicholas St. James. His brand new album, Theaters, came out on January 22nd, and if you dig the tracks I'm going to be playing during the show today, you're in luck, because he is actively, and by actively, I mean almost every other day, playing a live show in and around town. So you should go to his Facebook page, /Nicholas St. James Music, click on tour dates, and you can get one or multiple shows added to your calendar. So go and do that now. And with that, we're going to go ahead first off and check out a single off that album called Sewer Service. You may recognize this single as I played it on shows before. However, if you have not heard it, buckle in because it is a great song. After this song is done, we'll jump into the interview that will take us right up to our first commercial break. You're tuned into Indie Movement here on eCAV Radio.
I get off work every day at 5. Well, I punch my time card at a straight down Highway 9. Well, I'm coming to see your face working in that cold dark light. Well, I park my car, I have a smoke, I come inside. Yeah, the walls are dirty with sorrow and pride. But you're a diamond ring outside the weather-weary eye. I write you a letter every day and then I throw it away. Well, I take the same seat every time that I come in. Yeah, well, it is my looking post for impressions that you give. Oh, Lord, I'm a little bit shy, but you know I've been dying for a will. Yeah, your mama gave you a name, but you don't use it now. It's not really gambling when you own the house. If everything is history, you know I've been dying to be found. I write you a letter every day and then I throw it away. Oh, you're turning on when everybody's turning in. You're sweating alcohol for paychecks and sin. Alright now, if there's a better show, well, I ain't been pointed there yet. Oh, you're mixing vices with whiskey and aspirin. Yeah, Robitussin and Sudafed, grade school discipline. Alright now, wow, I'm coming for you again and again and again and again and again. I write you a letter every day and then I throw it away. Oh, I write you a letter every day and then I throw it away. Oh, I write you a letter every day and then I throw it away.
I'm here with vaudeville folk troubadour Nicholas St. James. How you doing, buddy?
Average today.
Just average?
Yeah.
It's beautiful outside.
Average is good though. No, like you, I didn't win the lottery today.
Okay.
And I haven't been stabbed.
Hey.
So
all right.
Cushy center of life.
Can I first say that I think you should rebrand yourself as vaudeville funk troubadour? Because that would be pretty awesome.
That would be awesome. I got the hair for it.
You do?
I do. All I would have to do is put some activator in it, and I would probably activator and then put some sort of light device in my beard, and I could make that happen.
I think that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Please do make that happen.
For two people.
You and me.
Right.
So you just put out a full-length record, Theaters, on February 22nd.
Yeah.
How's the reception been so far?
Good. I say that like I was shocked, but I kind of was. I made a record that I wanted to make. I mean, I don't have anybody telling me what to do. Not that I ever foresee myself getting to a place where somebody's like, you have to write the next pop hit. Like, that's not going to happen with the music, all right? But this is a record I've wanted to make for probably since I've been playing music. Like, it sounds, and importantly, and I've been telling everybody this, it sounds like me, which is what I love about it. But to get it to sound like me when I'm just a solo guy, and there are two other people, a drummer, a percussionist, and a mellotron / guitar player on it, to get it to sound like me, we had to do a few different things with the sonically with the recording, and that was doing it live was the easiest way to sort of, well, how do you make it sound like me? Well, just do it live. And then on top of that, all of my favorite records are, I mean, I listen to a lot of Delta blues and early rock and roll. So, I use the example of like Exile on Main Street. You listen to that record, great record. You listen, but where's the kick drum? It's there, but it's not your modern day like that boom, boom.
Sure.
That
just
backbeat
up front in the mix.
So this record is not that. Well, it is that. It is Exile on Main Street sort of. It's not that good. Let me rephrase that. It's that kind of sound of, instead of having a really great drum sound and a really great guitar sound and the most amazing vocal and the wicked cool bro mellotron sound, it's just, it's like a chili or like a gumbo would be a better example. It's like, yeah, that andouille sausage is boss, bro. But like, really, it's just one part of the gumbo.
Sure.
So I made a gumbo record, I guess. It's an awful analogy, but
Gumbo's delicious.
Gumbo is delicious.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a really good analogy.
It's a great analogy.
It is a great analogy. Let's go with that.
Welcome back to Indie Movement here on eCAV Radio. We're going to go ahead and continue the interview with local musician Nicholas St. James. I'll be honest, I think it's an amazing record.
Well, thank you.
And your vocals, man, you have like the most unique vocals, and it was interesting to me that you've only been singing for a little over a year.
Little over 2 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're one of those people that just have natural talent that I just hate.
Thank you.
Hate.
You sound like me. I get like that with people.
Dude, seriously, like you probably have never taken vocal lessons. And you just have this amazing voice, and you have amazing control of your voice.
Oh, thank you very
There's
much.
like different timbres that you can hit, that you do in a song that just to me, it just helps tell the story that you're trying to convey.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
That's sort of the point, I think.
You nailed it.
I record everything I do. I mean, not right now. I'm not recording. I don't have my phone in my pocket just rolling in case you say something inflammatory. But it is shows. I've recorded everything I've ever done, and you can go back and correct the technical screw ups. Like, it's very obvious when you're, oh wow, I was way off pitch there, or oh goodness, I should probably, maybe do a little bit of breathing exercise before a show and not eat a cheeseburger. Like, it's pretty obvious the technical parts, like a guitar. If your guitar's out of tune, that's pretty, which mine is frequently, which is great for a solo performer when there's nothing backing it up. Let me apologize to any future shows the listener may come to where my guitar is horrendously out of tune. But you can pick up on the technical stuff. So am I Mariah Carey hitting high C's? No, absolutely not. I'll never be that. I just want to make sure that technically I'm not awful. So then once you get the very basic, like, okay, well, I know that if I'm here, I need to go here or whatever. For me, especially as a solo performer, it's like, well, how do I make my voice, because I can't sit here and do like a 20-minute, Purple Rain solo because there's nothing backing it up. There's no backing, there's no bass, no drums, no wicked cool synth part. It took me maybe 6 months, which is either longer or shorter than it should have been, to realize, oh, it's not the guitar that's the focus of the show. It really is my voice.
And your beard.
And more. Wait until I get that activator. So you try, I try, somebody tries to make it more theatrical, while doing things technically correct. I'm making air quotes right now.
Those are good.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, I just want you to know that's what's happening.
So you did mention just earlier, you recorded the album entirely live, four microphones.
Four,
and then two other gentlemen, Colby Earlywine, did drums and percussion, and then Michael Stevenson.
He would slap you right now for saying. I call him that to make him mad. I call him Mikhail Stephenson. Or Mike. I call him Mike because he's one of those guys who doesn't like I go by Nick. Nicholas is for bills and
sure.
Tax purposes and marquees. but Nick is fine. But yeah, if he's one of those guys you call him Mike, he would slap you.
So the P is silent.
Yeah.
Mellotron and guitar and vocals. And I want to talk about the Mellotron because I don't think a lot of people outside of music understand what a Mellotron is and how amazing of a machine it is.
Yes, I'm just going to agree with, yes, it is. Do you want me to nerd out? Is that what you're asking me to do
I
here?
definitely do.
Okay, so the Mellotron is basically like, it is the original sampler, and that you can play, I don't know what the actual number is, but let's say a couple, close to maybe 200. That might be wrong. Close to 200 different instruments across all the tapes. But it looks like a piano, but instead of opening it up and there's strings in there, there's basically a big cassette deck. And it was made, I think they thought it would be taken on the road, but then they shortly realized that it was
500 pounds.
Well, I mean, can you imagine carrying, I think it's worse than a Hammond B3 and Leslie 122. Like, a Hammond has a lot of moving parts, obviously a Leslie does, but I mean, they're well built.
Sure.
And they were built by a company with some financial backing. Chamberlain and Mellotron, the guy was building them out of his garage, wasn't he, for the most part?
I think so.
And it's a giant tape machine. Like, it's not like people are taking Studers on the road either. I mean, Jack White probably would because he's a jerk like that.
That's what he does.
Yeah. Oh, I've recording this straight to. I've got a lathe with me as well. But the Mellotron and or Chamberlain, it allows you. You can do this in a computer nowadays, where you can play fake piano or you can play fake violins or fake voices. But a lot of those are synthetically created through some sort of synthesizer, where a Mellotron, these people were the 50s, late 50s?
It was old. I actually found a video on YouTube about Mellotron, and it was like two dudes from Europe that it was old school. So
was it late 50s that came around, though?
it might have been.
They brought real musicians into a studio and have them record certain parts. So if, let's say you had the cello big cassette piece, and when you push the F and you're playing a keyboard, when you push the F on a keyboard, you get that octave, or as close of an approximation as you can get to that octave of an F on a cello. But it's a real guy just playing. That's an F. If anybody's has perfect pitch, that could have been a B flat. I don't know. But you have just that, an 8-second tape loop. So then you can do all these really weird things. And my favorite part about it is the lack of attack and decay. It's an on-off. And it sounds like a 1950s tape recording. Like the program I have I don't have a Mellotron or Chamberlain. I have a digital version of one, but they took Tom Waits, one of his Chamberlains, and it's a bunch of different things. I have all the tapes, the Rhythm Mate, which is the original drum machine. I mean, I've got everything, but they took the original tape. So you have this digital recording, which actually, if any instrument was ever meant to be put into digital, it was this one, because it's just perfect. You still get the analog sound of it, but you don't have to carry a tape machine with you. But you get that fun sort of raspy, clicky, old degraded tape sound with no attack or decay on the notes, so it sounds very artificial. But if you play to its weaknesses, use those to your advantage, such a cool instrument. And it's all over a lot of stuff that people. It's on. I just learned the other day it's on Wonderwall.
Oasis?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it is on a lot of stuff, both modern and it went out of fad. Went out of fad in the 80s a bit. But once the Beatles used it, what was that, 68 or something like that, through late 70s. And then again in the 90s, it picked back up. It's on a lot of stuff. I just use the hell out of it for pretty much, it's me, guitar, drums, and then any other instrument I want. As long as the Mellotron has it, I'm going to use it. But it's a lot of people have used it sparingly. Like the Kills use it. Obviously, Radiohead uses it. But yeah, I didn't know it was on Wonderwall. I just heard that the other day.
So you have it digitally, or you have an actual?
I have it digitally. No, I don't have $1 million. Is what you're asking. No, it's I can't remember what I've had it for a while. I can't remember what the software manufacturer would be the best way to put it. But they have, because there were a few different versions of the company. There are a few different Chamberlains or Mellotrons. There were different decks for each one, and the one I have, the program I have, has everything. And instead of doing like some, I want to say Tune Track, they make a Easy Drummer.
Oh yes.
I had bought their Mellotron thing because it has this cool kind of key into, like, it'll write key parts for you, which is great for like demoing songs or whatever.
You just pick the key and then it'll write a melody for you.
But yeah, you can sort of pick out melodies. Yeah. So I got it for that. It had this Mellotron thing, but it's not, their stuff isn't, it's just like sort of a synthetic, again, the way a computer would create samples. It sounds like a synthetic Mellotron, where the program I have, they took note by note by note, every single tape ever created for a mellotron or Chamberlain or the Rhythmate, and they recorded each and every one. So it sounds, aside from having to lug 500-pound tape deck keyboard, upstairs or whatever, I mean, it sounds identical to it. And they recorded, like most, this is where I find, and there's nothing wrong with computers by any means as far as using them for to record. I hate having one on stage with me, which is weird. Like
you're not a DJ.
Laptop. Yeah, right. I'm a folk musician with a laptop on stage when I'm playing with a band. But
modern folk.
I like when samplers, if they're actually sampling something and they're trying to do it right, like digital pianos started getting very realistic when they started doing like the hammer sound. Not just it's striking the note, but when they figured out how to get the keys, and I don't play piano that well for this to matter too much, but when they got the keys, the feel of the keys right, but then when they started doing the quirks that the instruments have.
Right.
And a mellotron is very much like an old tape deck. I mean, it's got moving parts inside, like a Rhodes. When they started doing samples of Rhodes, and there were certain things, or a Hammond or whatever, anything with moving parts in it, that is so much a part of the sound. So what's neat about, we're just going on about this, but
I love it.
Long story short, the program I have, I can't remember who makes it, but it's got everything. So I allow myself, when I'm recording or thinking of a song, like I allow myself a drummer, and then anything the mellotron has to offer.
And another instrument that you used on the album that is very complex, like the mellotron, is a kazoo.
I knew that was coming. I started playing kazoo. I wanted to play harmonica. I started playing kazoo live because it's easier than the harmonica.
I was going to ask, how does that work? Do you just pick a kazoo in like a pitch? Or like a
no,
key?
There is nothing. It is just a piece of plastic with a little small diaphragm in it. There's nothing. If you can hum, can you hum?
Kinda.
Then you can kind of play a kazoo. All you have to do is hum. So they're very easy to play, but a lot of the times people will do that. Especially living in Kansas, I get wrapped into the bluegrass stuff a lot.
Sure.
I don't play bluegrass at all. I have an acoustic guitar, but I don't play bluegrass. And things like bluegrass and sort of hillbilly music, and that's certainly not an offensive term, hillbilly music, very Americana, a genre upon itself. You get that kind of like, kazoos are used for probably their actual purpose, just sort of a fun, lighten the mood, like, I like to treat mine like a trumpet. It's not a trumpet, it sounds like a kazoo, but I like to think of it like, what would a trumpet player be doing here? And all you have to do is sort of hum that part.
Okay.
And maybe that comes across, maybe that doesn't, I don't know. Maybe it just comes across as a regular kazoo part.
I think it sounds really awesome on the record. That's just another layer of instrumentation.
You don't
really hear a lot.
It comes out of nowhere, yeah. I mean, you don't see it, and that wasn't by design. No, it's not like, that was awesome of me, wasn't it? But the first time I listened, obviously I know what's about to happen because I, wrote the songs and recorded it myself.
Sure.
But I didn't see the first. I think there's 2 kazoo parts on the record. I didn't see that the first one's like, oh yeah, we did that. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and maybe with everything else going on, because it's a drummer, and on that track, the 2 tracks, a mellotron player and an acoustic guitar, it's not straightforward, very obvious folk, perhaps. I don't know. But I like the way it comes across. And even solo, playing live, I'll use it a lot, and I usually keep it tucked into my guitar strap, so I'm not doing like the Bob Dylan harmonica holder with it in my face the whole time. It's like, oh, there he is, finally blowing on that thing, like it just comes out of nowhere. And I like that surprise element. But again, playing it's a very simple instrument. It's not like I'm reinventing the kazoo. Once they invented it, there was no reinventing it. Like, I have an electric kazoo at home that's got a pickup in it.
What?
That's not even really. Actually, I sent Mitch from the Westerners.
Yeah.
He had sent me a link. I'm like, bro, I got one of those already. He's like, what would it? And of course, the Mitch question. He's like, what would it sound like with fuzz and delay?
Right.
So I sent him a video. I'm like, that's what it sounds like, fuzz and delay. It sounds awful. It sounds like a kazoo. Like a kazoo sounds like a kazoo. Sounds like a kazoo. So. There's only so many ways to hum as well, but that's actually probably more about chord choices on guitar than it really is about the kazoo. I love the kazoo.
When playing out live, because the kazoo you have to bite down on to hold it in place, right? Because you don't have that holder like the harmonica.
Oh yeah.
Have your lips ever been fatigued to the point of show where you pull it out and just dropped it?
I've only dropped it twice.
That was wood.
It was wood. I dropped it in Manhattan, opening for the Yoppers. I can't remember the other one. I want to say it was at like Jackpot for maybe Lawrence Field Day Fest or something. I've only dropped it twice.
Okay.
I whip my hair back and forth a lot, and with whipping my hair back and forth comes my head also whipping back and forth since my hair is connected to that. So because I have to have a natural break in the song to take a hand off my guitar and grab it. And that's such a short, I mean, if you think about taking something out of a holster, and I keep a little, looks like a little knife sheath almost on my guitar strap, which I keep it in. And if you think about a natural break in a song, you don't want to stop for a minute and kill the mood. So you got to have a pretty quick grab it, put it in your mouth, and get right back into it. Yeah, there's been a few times where it's been barely hanging on, and I've had to, start pulling in air for dear life to keep it in the mouth. But twice I've dropped it.
So when you dropped it, did you just start humming it?
No, I think I'm a big fan of. My favorite part of playing of being a musician is playing live. Mm-hmm. Like we were talking earlier about, right. You play in a Dylan's, a dorm room, you play at Uptown Theater, and it doesn't matter. Playing live is a blast. I don't think bands nowadays. Not that they're more. I don't think bands nowadays are more rehearsed than they've ever been. But I think the idea of screwing up is just like devastating. Like if I drop it, that's an opportunity. Like, okay, this is a live show. So I dropped it. I'm not gonna be like, I dropped it, ha ha ha. But like I calling attention to it as opposed to
just kind of
keep going. And who knows? Like I don't think about dropping it, because if you're not supposed to drop it, you think about what you're supposed to do. But if something happens that's not supposed to, like if I play guitar very heavily. So if I break a string, it's like, I'm either going to keep going or I'm just going to... Folks, this is awful. You don't want to hear this and I don't want to hear this. I realize that I should figure out some way to keep going, but we're just going to stop. I'll be back with you in 5 minutes.
Right.
Or
technical.
Something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's... If you drop it...
You just go into a Guns N' Roses solo.
Exactly. All we need is just a little patience. And then here comes the November Rain solo, because I'm going to put those together. The second November Rain solo of like the 8 that are in that song.
Right.
So
when did you first learn how to play the kazoo? We're just going to make this about the kazoo.
You've asked about for everybody out there, I play guitar, but you've asked so far about my 2 favorite instruments.
Oh, you play guitar?
Barely. No. The kazoo was an afterthought. It was, so August 7th of 2013 was the first open mic that I did is sort of like the Nicholas St. James act. I love open mics. Sometimes I think people don't appreciate open mics for what they're worth.
Why is that?
It's a good place to go woodshed stuff. No
Yep.
one's too,
Yep.
like if I walked in and saw Bon Jovi doing an open mic, but it was a song I never heard, which is unfortunately like 90% of Bon Jovi's catalog. But still, if I knew it was new, so I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah, Bon Jovi. If you want to go play that song in front of, 40,000 middle-aged women and you want it to be perfect, thank you for coming to this open mic and practicing. Because there's something, practicing live or in your band room or whatever is one thing, but even if you're just practicing with the bartender and the open mic host,
right.
Being on a stage is different, man.
It is. All right, and with that, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break, but do not go anywhere, because when we get back, we'll continue our discussion with local folk musician Nicholas St. James. You're tuned into Indie Movement here on eCAV Radio. Welcome back to Indie Movement here on eCAV Radio. If you're just tuning in, my special guest on the show with me today is local folk musician Nicholas St. James. Now, before the break, Nicholas was explaining to me how he first picked up playing the kazoo, so let's go ahead and get back into it.
August 7th, 2013, I hadn't done live music in quite a while, and I was still figuring out, what is this Nicholas St. James thing going to be like? I have a very good idea, but, again, you don't know until you're on a stage. And I had started doing shows kind of sparsely, and I was doing like open mic like once a week and figuring out, okay, well, we were talking about with voice earlier, this works and this doesn't work. And there's, even with just a guitar and just a vocal, there's a lot of stuff that, this doesn't work, this does work. There's a lot of things that can go really right or really wrong, or go off really well or really poorly with just those 2 things, even though you're not building a symphony behind you. Because in people's heads, I think at least in people's heads, they're doing that for you. Not all the time. If they're looking at Facebook, that doesn't happen. I had realized very, very, very quickly, so somewhere probably late 2013, that, if you're doing, and I was still doing quite a few covers there at that point, like if you're doing Hard Travelin' by Woody Guthrie, nobody wants to hear G-A-D, G, C7, D-G without anything behind it. There's no bass player, there's no drummer. It's just an idiot strumming chords on a guitar. So you then start thinking, okay, well, that bores the hell out of me, and I'm the one doing it. So surely I'm going to lose people's, for that 30-second instrumental break. Not to say that there aren't instrumental breaks, but it's like, well, what can you do? I have 2 hands, and I'm playing an instrument where I need both of them. It's not like piano, where I can easily keep some bass lines going, or
right.
like Prince, where he plays guitar with one hand for the most part, because he's Prince.
Because he's Prince.
Oh my God. I bet he smells really good.
I bet you, I hear he's really good at basketball. Surprisingly so.
I've heard that as well. I've heard that, like, not from More than just the Chappelle Show, I've heard that.
Really?
That he's good at basketball.
Okay.
But he's Prince.
He is
Like,
Prince.
he's probably really good at doing his taxes in a timely fashion as well.
I didn't know he had that huge recording studio up in Minnesota.
Paisley Park. He's one of those guys, and because recording, so we were talking about this kind of earlier, because recording stuff is so affordable, everybody, like, I've reached the point where I hate telling people that I don't use the word studio. I say I have the ability to record at my house because I don't have a studio. It's not like you walk in and you're in Blackbird and, Nashville. I have what most people have at my house. And I also hate it because this day and age, anybody can do it.
Sure.
So I like what I do with it, but like most people, even though I have the ability to record at will, like I've got a lot of stuff, but Prince wakes up, goes to Paisley Park, and because he plays 18 of everything, like he will just write albums a day. When he dies, whatever species comes after humans that own the earth, because eventually I'm a firm believer we're going to get wiped out by something, disease, asteroid,
robots.
whatever. And then let's say that, I don't know, chickens become the next, smart, intelligent species, whatever, or robots, whoever.
I like the chickens.
Chicken robots from Aqua Teen. They're going to find just loads and loads and loads of Prince recordings. It's going to be like their hieroglyphs from like ancient Egypt. That's going to be Prince recordings.
I'd be okay with that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Prince, he's, like I said, I bet he smells really good.
He's a character, but man, that guy's talented. I wonder if he has that, what's that thing called where you see music in color?
I know
Paul
what you're
McCartney
talking
says
about.
he has it. Starts with an S, I think. Either way, how awesome would that be just to be like, that's purple. I'm going to go write a great song.
I think even just having perfect pitch would be cool.
Yes.
Like, but that's you're born with it or you're not born with it. The fact that I don't have it is probably why I like music. It was one of those things I found. It wasn't like, oh, my friend plays basketball, so I'll play basketball, or my brother is a astrophysicist, so I'll be an whatever. Like, nobody in my family's a musician. Like, I wasn't born with any of that stuff, so it's like, oh, this is very much something I found myself that I like. That's me.
How'd you find it?
I just like music. I just enjoyed it, and always thought I enjoyed the writing aspect of it as well. I always thought it's really surprising that I thought for a while when I started playing guitar, I was like, I'm gonna write these really cool solos, and I'm gonna be an awesome guitar player.
Okay.
Really, what I've enjoyed about music and what got me into it were the words and the writing. I've always liked to write, be it songs or stories or whatever. Mm-hmm. So looking back, I'm like, why didn't I think immediately? I was like, try to be a songwriter. Don't try to be a guitar player. Not there's anything wrong with trying to be a guitar. I'm trying to get better at guitar every day, but it's like songwriting. That's what I love about music, and the people that I fell in love with that weren't the Spice Girls, because I grew up in the 90s. So.
Okay, how about we check out some more music? This song is called Misery, and it's taken off Nicholas St. James' brand new album, Theaters, that came out back in January. You tuned into Indie Movement here on eCAV Radio.
$1 from me. You'll wanna watch me make this don't bleed, Lord. I know, misery. Well, I work all day for a family to feed. Get off the night shift and it's straight to sleep. But I know. drink. Yeah, I didn't know you had to pay for your drinks, but I know misery. Yeah, they turned my phone off, the water and heat. I had no idea these things could happen to me, but I know misery. Yeah, I know, Lord said I know.
Songwriting is actually a lot more complex than I think people really give it credit for.
Yes and no. No, in the sense that I could literally, you could be talking and asking me a question, and between every answer of mine, I could be jotting something down, and I know enough about the guitar, and people that play piano well could do this on piano or any instrument for that matter. I could write a song right now, just between my talking and your asking a question, over a period of an hour. There we go. We've got a song. Writing a song is not difficult. There's no formula to it. But writing a song that you want to play more than twice, writing a song that somebody else wants to listen to, writing a song like Hey Jude, like who thought that, like that end, the na 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 na, like who the hell thought, 10 years prior, somebody would have probably told Paul McCartney, like, you're an idiot. That will never, that's nonsense. That is a universal. It's not English, it's not Spanish, it's just Nas, not the rapper, but it's yes. So yes and no. Writing a song is not complicated. Writing a song that you enjoy yourself is very complicated. Writing a song that, if I wrote a song and then you listen to it, so if I enjoy it, then I say, I enjoy it. Alex, do you enjoy the song? That is very, very complicated. Writing a song that everybody on your block likes, that's very, very, very complicated.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good point.
And you have to, like I think I'd mentioned earlier, like I'm not gonna write a pop song like "Baby Hit Me One More Time" or "Hit Me One More Time, Baby." I can't remember how that goes.
I think it was the first one.
Yeah, like I'm not going to write that kind of sugar pop song. But you have to have a pop mentality. I was using the example the other day that you can go. What I love about playing a show, like if I'm going to, and I don't go to festivals, but if I were to go to a festival, I want to be on stage, not in the audience. One, because I don't do big crowds. Like, if you put me in the middle of the audience, I'm like, I'm not having fun. There are people, I'm being touched, I'm sticky, I don't want to do this. But obviously, I'm a musician. I want to be on stage. Sure. Like, that makes sense. But what I love about being on stage is I'm in this box for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, however long the set is. I can do whatever the hell I want to do in this box. You can't come up and do anything unless I've invited you. It's if I'm playing with people, we're on this box. And now that goes back to the pop mentality though. Like I can't get up there and just monotone, voice read The Great Gatsby. Like maybe that'd be huge. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that would go over horrendously. So if you don't have some sort of popular mentality of what you're doing musically, and who the hell would rather want to write a song without a wicked chorus or a good bridge or tasty lyrics? Like,
right.
I don't know why you'd want to do that anyway, but I guess it's called jazz. But jazz rules too. There's a time and a place for jazz. Like, I love jazz. That was a really...
That's dig.
Yeah, it was a dig.
That's
but like,
okay.
No, but it wasn't... I feel bad about that immediately because I like jazz. Like, not just like, yes, I've heard of Miles Davis, but like, I dig jazz. Like, that was really... I feel bad about that.
Nah, you're good.
It's like making fun of my mother and be like, Mom, I love you. I'm sorry.
It's a love-hate thing.
Yeah. But no, that's... Writing a song is a mystery. Yes and no is the answer to your initial question.
You make a good point. Writing it, but then writing it for mass appeal. That's where kind of the challenge comes in, depending on the genre you're writing for.
Yeah, it's like, is being a parent easy? Well, having the kid is, yeah. I mean, I just, do this with this thing, and then she does that with that thing, and then all of a sudden, a couple months later, boop, there he is. And then, you could put the TV on and have a bowl of Cheerios in front of him all day long, or you could be an active, I say this like I'm a parent. I'm not a parent.
That's an interesting metaphor.
But that's what,
okay.
Having a kid is very easy. Being a parent is not easy at all. I'm not a parent at all. So this is a terrible analogy coming from somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. Writing a song is very easy.
But you do have a Dare shirt on, so you're one step closer.
This is my 5th grade Dare shirt. This is not like I didn't go into a vintage store and be like, oh man, I had some guy at the gas station on the way here say, did you graduate? I thought he was talking about from my college. I'm like, from where? He goes, from Dare, man. And I go, oh yeah, I guess I did. He goes, huh, I did, but it didn't do much good. And I didn't want to like talk down to the guy or anything. But I was like, oh yeah, I guess wearing a shirt like this does kind of come across with that like, man, I just smoked 4 blunts in the car, and now I'm like, this is my actual 5th grade Dare shirt. It fits. It's clean. It's black.
Well, from 5th grade, he's gone through the washer a lot, so it probably is super comfortable.
And the fact that I still fit into it really tells you about what was going on in 5th grade, Nick. Yeah.
You were a tall 5th grader.
Vertically, yes. Or horizontally, yes. Vertically, no.
So when you write, do you write the guitar riff first and then build lyrics around it? I would assume, I'm going to take a guess here, go off the deep end, that you probably write lyrics all day and then you fit your lyrics to guitar or kazoo.
Both. I actually like listening to, be it interviews, or I guess it would still be an interview if it's in a magazine, reading interviews, listening to songwriters. I enjoy talk about the craft of it. Like most people, like a carpenter doesn't want to just look at a piece of, a bookshelf that was built into a house, not just a, Walmart buy, carry, and build, put here, but bookshelf, a permanent fixture. And he doesn't want to just look at that and say, oh, that's pretty. He wants to get in close and see how are the joints put together and how did he carve the ornate whatever. So I love listening to songwriters, anybody, not just songwriters I enjoy even, but anybody talk about writing a song. And there's 2 main ways that I'll do it. A lot of the times I'll have a guitar part that I've been messing around with that have slowly developed into basically a song. I'll have the guitar part ready, and then I'll have that feel of like, okay, that feels like this is about something. And then I don't write personal songs, I write like observational songs. So I just sort of have a list, and I write down everything. So it's transitioned from like an old little reporter flip notebook to my phone. Which was the day the music died. At least my soul, when I got rid of the pen and paper and got the phone.
You can always go back.
Yeah, no, you can't. No, it's just so...
Do you use the talk to translator?
I do when I'm in the car because I don't text and drive, which I guess that's still texting and driving, but I'm talk to texting and driving.
That's not bad.
It's better than the alternative, but it's not good. It's like, I ate 4 cheeseburgers at McDonald's. I didn't eat 8. Like you're still not watching the road. Yeah, and that's only on the highway. Like if I'm in, driving in Lawrence or downtown Kansas City, I'm not going to text. But if I'm like on Highway 70 driving wherever, yeah, sure, I'll use talk to text, but that's still not good.
All right, and with that, let's go ahead and take a short break. You're tuned into Indie MOOment here on eCAV Radio. Welcome back to Indie MOOment here on eCAV Radio. If you are just tuning in, my special guest in the studio with me today is local folk musician Nicholas St. James. Now, before the break, we were chatting about the amazing technology Talk to Text and how Nicholas uses it to store song ideas. Well, I remember the time when you used to have to pronunciate each word into the phone, and then you could start using Talk to Text.
Apple's recording, and this isn't like conspiracy. This is that they're actually they say they're doing this with Siri at least. Or Siri, I call her Suri because
she get mad.
Little Suri Cruz, Tom and Kat's daughter. When you talk to her, they record, and they record it, but they keep all of that on file so they can. I don't mind. It's not like I'm saying like, "Yo, Tom Franklin of 442 West Street, bring me the amounts of drugs over. I'll have your like." So people that are worried about the government, whatever, watching us, like, what are they going to find of mine?
Right.
Like that I like spending time on Sweetwater. Like, I don't care. Whatever. figure out a way anyway. So Apple keeps all of that to develop. Why are we talking about? I don't know why I started.
No, I kept asking about it because talk to text is an amazing technology.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do so much editing. Yeah, so that's why it's getting better, because they store all that stuff. So I mean, you got the guy that mumbles, you've got the woman that talks too fast, you've got the person that uses a bunch of Spanish words in the middle of an English sentence.
Sure.
Vice versa. I don't know how we got here, but here we are.
Speaking about Sweetwater.
What a segue.
And this is actually a terrible transition because I'm going to go to someone tabbed out one of your songs. Yeah. How cool is that? I'm assuming you didn't know the person.
No, I found out about
awesome.
that. I didn't want to put this, so obviously...
Tabbed out, sorry, for people who don't know, tabbed out. So they took your guitar, or they took a song and they told people how to play it on a guitar online on this huge database site. It's got tons of songs.
I think it's the biggest.
Yes.
Like... Not that matters. I mean, it's the biggest in the sense that only means, like, of course they would go to that site to put it there. It's not like they're not retailing it, of course. I found out about that. I put my name into Google something or other. So if I get written about,
Google Alerts.
Google Alerts, thank you. A friend of mine was telling me about this. So if something gets written, like a show preview for, if I'm playing in Fayetteville or whatever, and it's a blog that the guy just blogs on everything coming up in Fayetteville or whatever, like that way I don't miss something, the opportunity to either thank somebody or post it publicly or whatever. Not that happens. It's not like I get written about all that frequently without my knowing about it, but in case it does,
sure.
Or something like this happens. I hadn't even thought about this. Going back to what I was saying just a few minutes ago about, I thought I was going to be, it wasn't until like 3 years ago that I sort of finally settled into, oh yeah, you're really actually a songwriter. Like I was like, I'm going to play guitar. I'm the guitar guy. Like I've got these cool pedals and this big loud amp and I've got a Stratocaster. I'm going to blow your face off. Like I think a lot of that probably still comes through in my live show, that's what I'm really trying to do poorly. I'd put this for the folks, you read this, but for the folks that didn't see the post, there were a couple things that hit me immediately. Is that one, I was like, oh, I bet this was my, one of my friends who, somebody in Manhattan or somewhere, like somebody I know that song specifically or what, like that they dig and they play themselves. So maybe there's like, well, I know how to play the song, we're just going to put it on the site. And first thing was, I had no idea who this person was. They lived in the Netherlands. I've come to find out it was in Holland, which that in itself, like cool. Even in a world where the internet, like I haven't toured more than 5 hours outside of Lawrence. I went up to Corvallis, Oregon a couple years ago, but that was, for the most part, 5 hours around Lawrence, Kansas. And this is Holland. The other one was, this really isn't that impressive of a guitar song. It's very sort of 1-4-5 minor bluesy kind of number. I'm like, I always thought, should I? Because when you're a guitar player, when you're learning how to play guitar, you sort of have that dream, like when I write that awesome, super bendy solo with the great effect on it and just the right Fender meets Marshall tone, bro, like a hi-watt man. You're like, some kid's gonna want to tab that out, and I'm gonna be like a guitar god on the wall, and then your dream dies. But then my thought was like, well, that's really cool that something was tabbed out, but this isn't a hard guitar song. And then it was finally the realization, which probably should have come initially, but it took maybe a day or two of, holy crap, I wrote a folk song. Like, I wrote a song, I'm a folk artist. I have essentially reached Mount Everest of what I can do. Like, Woody Guthrie didn't sit down to write songs that he didn't think that people would continue playing This Land Is Your Land. Dylan didn't write his version of Don't Think Twice. He didn't do that because he thought it would be played over and over and over again, but they become part of, and I'm not saying that this has happened to this song, it's happened with this one person in Holland, but that's one person. Like, I don't care if it's 1 million people or one person. Like, that is such a weird form of validation that in some way, shape, or form, with just this one song, this one person in Holland wanted to add my song to his own folk vernacular, that he thought it was good enough to learn, good enough to play, good enough to share with other people that might want to do the same. I was like, it's one of those things. It's like, it just sort of like, you have to stop for a second, like, oh my God, that is actually, and this isn't even me tooting my horn. This is just sort of it is a really big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's not a small thing. That's for him to take time to something that I created out of nothing. Like, that's a big deal that he wanted to take his time to do that. I've since talked to this guy.
Oh.
because when I posted about it on the Face Space, his friend who likes my Facebook page had said, I think that's my friend Jan, and so on and so forth. And then I'd ended up hearing from him. Like, had it happened to anybody. Like, that's a big deal. Like, for a folk musician to have a song entered into someone's folk vernacular, like 1 person or 100 people, 2 million people, it doesn't matter. To me, at least. Like, holy cow. Wow. I am severely watching my language right now.
Doing a good job.
I have a potty mouth. I really do. I usually wouldn't say holy cow. I would say holy shnikes.
Okay, and with that, since I had so much fun talking with Nicholas during the show today, spoiler alert, what I'm going to do is extend this interview into Wednesday's show. Now, I know that we didn't get to hear a lot of music on today's show, so what I'll make sure to do on Wednesday is play for you some of the songs that Nicholas sent over to me, which have influenced him as an artist. We'll also talk about another handful of amazing and fun topics that I know you guys are going to dig. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show, and we'll catch back up with you guys on Wednesday. This is your host, A Beats, signing off.